Yes, sir.
Come
See
on
what it
into the
do.
chat. It's head busting season.
There it is. You know it. Peace, peace, y'all. Baragani, Islam, Salam, Hetepu, Rahubat, Gino Lako Ninani, Chief Noble Bandele Elamine in the building. Right now, we trying to see who's coming in here, but I got my main man in the building. We got King El Bay in the building. And we're gonna, like he said, bust their head. You know what I'm saying?
Head busting season.
Yeah. So before we get into any of that, yo, please go check out all my books on Amazon.com. Got the Moorish Treaties, and got the new one, the Birth Certificate Explained, How to Avoid Birth Certificates. Uh, and check out this blank journal. If you guys need something to write your notes down, check out the blank journal. It's got 200 pages of blank pages, so you can write down whatever you need, man. Uh, so with that being said, we can we can get into this, man. We can get into this. So, um, topic was status versus nationality. Um, you know, basically the breakdown. You know, dealing with contracts, treaties, compacts, NDAs, etc., etc. You know, we just gonna kind of go in this, break this down for a lot of people who will kind of have a misunderstanding of what's going on. We got a lot of brothers and sisters who are trying to figure out the so-called game, and they're having a hard time. So we're going to get into that, man. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and take over the floor, man. I'm putting up the
Oh,
first thing up here though, if you want to get started
okay.
though. But
So the first thing we need to understand status as it relates to nationality and contracts dealing with treaties because everything is a contract. Your status is your relationship with property as it relates to civil rights in the United States. You're dealing in civility and you're dealing with a civil rights and civil liberty institution that deals in civility. Understanding what's going on in the relationship between you and your property, you must understand that the law follows the property. And what is when they ask you about what your status is, what is your standing as it relates to property? Are you in a debtors or creditors relationship? Has nothing to do with your nationality at all.
mm,
Unless, see, some of us think there's other things, there's other jurisdictional issues that must be resolved as it relates to nationality. Some of you don't want to let certain things go, and you're chasing the rabbit hole, which is the money, and you're getting
okay,
caught up in the matrix and what they call the the spider in the web jurisdiction or doctrine.
spider in the web. They be coming.
So
Hey,
so
how they come up with these names, boy?
most people
Nah,
don't
go ahead.
understand. Most people don't understand volunteer. A volunteer status.
Right.
You are in a volunteer status. It don't matter if you are Moor or not. Got nothing to do with your nationality. You in a status of a volunteer, and under equity, equity do not aid a volunteer.
I
You are
got you.
now a member. I told Morris before, this is about membership. So we talk about family members. We talk about members of an organization or an institution. It's membership. So do you got to ask yourself, if I'm a volunteer firefighter and not a member as under contract, do I get benefits as a volunteer? Do I go out and get benefits?
I got you.
So if I volunteer for something or I voluntarily gave information out, right?
Right. Right.
What happened? If I say, by alert, I'm gonna voluntarily give you this, do you owe me anything?
I shouldn't. Right.
But if I give you something under contract, right, and say, hey, take this, here's the contract and sign it. What is your
It's
status
being
in relationship in the contract? What is your status?
it's a volunteer. It's a volunteer under a contract.
Yeah. So if we want to, I could show them better than I could tell them as it relates to your volunteer status. So I'm gonna do a little something, pull
Okay.
up this stuff. Hold on, let me voluntary. Uh, let me see. Let me volunteer. So we're gonna go to several different definitions as it relates. Let me share the screen.
Go ahead, do your thing.
I'm gonna share the screen for the people. People don't understand status. Okay, so we're gonna look at status. It says status is the standing, state, or condition, and it tell you the case law, the legal relations of individuals to rest of the community, the rights, duties, and capacities and incapacities which determines a person to a given class. A legal
Hold on. Are you
personal
at
relation.
it? Let me put you on. You weren't even on there. My fault, man.
I wasn't on here.
Nah. I was looking. My fault. Stuff going on in the background, but I'm here though. I just pulled. Hold on. I just added it to the stream. There you go. There you go.
Okay, so you got to understand status as it relates to contract. So I was going over some stuff. I'm stopped here. A legal person, personal relationship, not contemporary in its nature, nor terminable at the mere will of the parties, which third persons and the state are concerned. So it says while terms applies, relation is not a mere relation. Then it goes down, and also it also means a state because it signifies the condition or circumstances in which one stands with regards to his property. So it's dealing with property of estates. What is a state? It's dealing with your property. What do that mean as it relates
Yeah.
to property? That means all forms of property, intangible, intangible, tangible or intangible. You got commercial property. You got non-commercial property. You got real estate. You got intellectual property. You got copyright, trademark, all different forms of property rights, right? As it relates to this jurisdiction that you have to understand that a lot of us don't really get. So let's go to a volunteer and let's look at what a volunteer is. But let's first go up to voluntary. It says unconstrained by interference, unimpelled by another influence, spontaneous, acting of oneself, done by the design or intention or proposed intended, proceeding from free and unrestrained will of a person. So we could go down here. It says the word, especially in statutes, often implies knowledge of essential facts. Then it goes here without consideration, without valuable consideration, gratuitous as a voluntary conveyance. It says also having merely a nominal consideration as a voluntary deed, as a voluntary answer, assignment, bankruptcy, confession, conveyance, deposit, oath, repayment, redemption, sale, settlement, trust, and weights. See those titles. So let's go down to a volunteer. A person who gives his service without any express or implied promise of remuneration. This means money. So you do something on the sole basis of I don't want no money in return. So they give you Federal Reserve notes to feed your face and buy the gift stuff under household goods, in which you don't understand your status in a relationship of contract. It says one who intrudes himself into a matter which does not concern him, or one who pays the debt of another without request when he is not legally or morally bound to do so, and when he has no interest to protect in making such payment. So that means you don't even have a vested interest. You are out here volunteering your service and your time for nothing. You're not
Wow.
asking for nothing in return. One who, acting on his own initiative, pays debts of another without invitation, compulsion, or necessity of self protection. Listen to this.
Okay. Okay. So are you saying? So are you saying that the people are really in a status of a volunteer?
Of course, they are in a volunteer status. Got nothing to do with your nationality. You waive just your mere participation. You are waiving. You in violation of treaty. Your participation is in violation of treaty.
Oh, you saying your volunteering is a violation of the treaty?
Of course.
So, well, of course. I mean, like to volunteer. But to volunteer, and I mean, think about it. Because you can volunteer out of the treaty, right? And that's what you're
Yeah.
doing.
So we can go one further. Let's look at. Let me see. I want to pull up voluntary.
Because, like, why you do that? Like the 13th Amendment talks about involuntary servitude, slavery, but it doesn't discuss voluntary servitude. So they left voluntary servitude legal. And so when you say that, it just made me think they created the status of a volunteer with the 13th Amendment.
Yeah, you in a voluntary jurisdiction. Voluntary in cases not admitting
That's kind of deep, man.
contentious litigation.
Right.
Jurisdiction acquired over a person only by virtue of his or her consent.
You said by his or her. Right. Right. I mean, you
Look
right.
at
I mean,
all
like,
the
so
contracts. Look at they tell you that this stuff is voluntary information. What are they telling you? They letting you know you are in a voluntary status.
so you saying you could have a nationality but still be in this status as a
Yes,
volunteer. So does a
as a
volunteer? So does a volunteer have a nationality? Is that the question? Does a
but
volunteer
he
have
can
a
have a
nationality?
he can have a nationality. It doesn't change his status. He shouldn't be there. He has no protection. He has nothing. He's volunteering everything. He's given up himself for nothing. Nothing he asks, nothing of return. But he still have to have, he's still under obligations and duties as a volunteer. Think about it. As a volunteer firefighter, volunteer police officer, you still, like, say if a volunteer police officer shoots somebody, right? He gonna be
Okay.
liable. He won't have the same protections that the police officer had because he's not a part of the fraternal order of police. He's a volunteer. So let's go here. Let's go to a maximum equity does
Peace to KB in the building. I see you 8.0.
a, a volunteer.
What we looking up?
Equity. Let me see. It didn't come up. Let me try Google.
And so you since you breaking down status, you're gonna have to talk about nationality. So you can make it clear. I can see what you're saying that the status and nationality are not necessarily they're not the same. You know,
So
this is what we trying to say.
this is a maxim of law. A volunteer is defined in equity as one who has not offered consideration for a benefit they have received or expect to receive. So equity does not aid a volunteer. You have no rights as
I got
associated with your voluntary status because you're not under contract. You in voluntary servitude. You volunteered to put yourself in servitude to be taxed, to be this. And you are caught up in this web and you are talking all of these different things and you don't know the game that's being played. Now, when we talk about nationality as it relates to your statehood, your nationality as it relates to your as it relates to blood and land rights, as it relates to jurisdiction, as it relates to property,
you said blood and land,
land rights.
blood and land right, blood rights.
Blood rights by the way the tribe is set up as it relates to the laws or the tribal laws or customs of the tribe. The laws associated with the customs, which is tied into their traditions and their way of life. So you might have a minority or a different type of hierarchy dealing with paternity and maternity, where you, under the laws, that the father may have the certain rights or blood rights, or the
I
mother
got you.
has certain rights. So your status can be based upon your mother's nationality or your father's nationality, depending on the laws and customs of that particular tribe. Does that make sense?
I think I get what you're saying. Y'all let me know in the comments in the chat if you guys understand what's going on, what he's talking about. Um,
So
Go
depending
ahead.
on the laws, so now you have customs, right? Your so you got what they call U.S. customs. So your customs is where the law is going to derive because it's coming out of your customs, what you believe, your system of belief It's how you govern everything based upon how you moving in life. So everything you do with your contracts as it relates to treaties, you're going to put your customs as it relates to the laws in particular jurisdiction, and this is going to deal with your status. But you can come outside of treaty protections, right, and waive your right of treaty benefits and protections and go into another status. And a lot of
Okay.
them came
Okay.
into
Is that what I was gonna say? Hey, hold on. And that's what I was gonna say. So are the Moors doing that? Are the
of
Moors
course they're coming,
volunteering their status? Don't even realize they're volunteering.
yeah, because they don't understand the game that's being played. They don't know how to argue. They don't understand the jurisdictional prowess that's being implemented. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen and come back in. So they don't really understand. So if anybody got any questions, come on in the chat. I could show you better than what I could tell you. So we're dealing with property rights, and most of this is intellectual property. We're talking about instrumentalities. So you are in possession of intellectual property of the United States. That's what this is all about. And you're using those instrumentalities to gain access to what? Benefits.
Okay.
So now you are under the jurisdiction because of your use of the property. That's just like you have a key to go in my house, right? Just by you going into the house, and if you break anything, you're now liable to fix it. They gave you the key to go in. They said, go ahead, go and you make yourself at home, and you went in there and you broke some stuff. You broke a television, a big 70-inch screen TV, a big stereo, and some other things. It broke. That
Right.
cost ten
Right.
thousand dollars. Who should pay for it? Who gonna pay for it? Should the homeowners pay for it, or should you pay for it? Even if they got it insured, who is liable when they go into the house? They gave you the key. You went in there. You made yourself at home, and you taught some things. Now, who is liable? This don't got nothing to do with your nationality. Tell me where your nationality, if I go into your house and I say I'm a Moor, tell me how that's going to save me from paying you for tearing up or dealing with your property.
I got you. I got somebody. Let's see. I can see if a comment. He said, "How about?" Okay, I'm gonna put this up here. Just see. I seen brother in the building before, man. We're gonna see what he talking about. Let me know if it's up. My screen is slow,
How
but
about
okay,
the
it's up.
parts, syntax grammar for contracts that are not provided and is a violation of the
Uh
UCC,
oh.
Universal
UCCs.
Commercial Code? Here we go again.
We talking about them UCCs,
So
right?
we're gonna talk about proprietary, and we're going to talk about intellectual property. Now, y'all need to do your homework. Now, you got everybody saying, hey, you don't need a license to practice law, which is true. It's a true statement. So, why can't you go into the courtroom and do what you do? Tell me why. So, I had explained this to my guy. Okay, the bar members and the law books are intellectual property. They're a licensed material.
Right.
You have to be a member to handle that licensed material. You're not a member. It's not that you need a license. You need a membership to handle that so you can be a so now you can have that membership allows you access of use. So let's go to let's say you're an author, right? You can you can represent yourself. See, this is what we talk about all the time. So I tell brothers all the time, what do
Pro.
you mean?
They gonna say
Repre-
pro per, right? Pro per, not pro se, right? Right.
no, they go proper, what they call what they say,
Proper person. Propria
proper
persona.
appropriate,
Right.
yeah,
Proper
appropriate.
person.
But this is the problem. They say I'm in my proper person. This ain't got nothing to do with your proper person. This got something to do with the licensed material that you handle. Okay, so Benelete, let's say I got your books. I ordered your books. I
Right.
got them. I got them cheap, and I'm selling them for $2 a book. I got 1,000 copies. What could you tell me? And you asking me how did I get these books? Could you hit me with a cease and desist notice and say, hey man,
I could hit you
how
with that, and maybe in selling my materials.
so ain't your books licensed material?
Right.
So who gave them the authorization to distribute licensed material? Some of this stuff is just simple elementary once you understand the game. It's licensed, copywritten material. So if I got Tupac, I cannot be selling his all eyes on me, playing it.
Public, publicly at least, not publicly.
I mean, but even if that's piracy. That's
Right.
piracy. I'm stealing
Yeah.
it. I'm theft. I'm theft of intellectual property. So a lot of brothers go in there talking that stuff and they don't understand minimum contact. They don't understand the game. So they get to talking about my nationality. That has nothing to do with your nationality. They talking
But
about the
status.
instrumentalities that you using.
Oh, right. Right.
You in the voluntary status. You're not under contract with them. You're gonna say, well, I got a treaty and I have a right and this and that and the third. Okay, prove it to us. But did you did you follow the laws that's necessary to execute? Right?
Right.
He's saying
I'm not sure
whose
what that means.
policy? He's whose policy.
What
So
that is?
most
Oh, policy. Whose policy? Right.
of
Who's right? I'm saying, well, what if you voluntarily agree to that policy? Then, then what do you got to say? Can you volunteer for this policy, then try to, I mean, throw your nationality and nullify your agreement, your volunteering to the policy? If that makes sense, you understand what I'm saying? Do
people
you?
are
I
not
mean,
people are
huh?
just not getting it. Who you following?
Who's you following?
What you mean who you following?
So I
See,
mean, basically, I mean, like from what you're saying is that the you have you make an agreement with your with a policy. It could be a company, corporation, and if you make a voluntary contract with them. So, for example, what would be a voluntary contract that Moors have that you think Morris is under? What's just name one?
Social Security, state,
Okay,
their
okay.
their
So like right.
their
So a
residency
Moor,
in the state.
So a Moor can say, "Oh, my nationality is this," but they got a contract or with the Social Security Department. Now, with the Social Security Department, is their status as a volunteer?
All of this stuff is volunteer information. So let's look at the state as we talk about presuming or presumption jurisdiction. Like people don't know that's a real jurisdiction. The state is presuming because of your activity, right? So everybody keep talking about status. I'm seeing you put adjustment of status, but people say, well, I gotta correct my status. No, you have to adjust your status. Why you have to adjustment? You have to adjust it where it match what? Your nationality as it relates to treaty. You want to come on a treaty so that you have to adjust your status. And you have to get them to recognize that. Most people, when they go into court, they want to argue stuff, and this is dealing with due process of law. This is dealing with the laws of treaty as it relates to both nations.
What
There's
they
a
arguing, man? Yo, what they arguing, man? What they
they're
what
gonna
what are people
first
arguing in court, man?
the first thing they fail to do is give notice. They don't even give notice. They just appear in court. They don't give notice.
I mean, when you say notice, are they specially appearing? Aren't they specially appearing in court, or no?
They
Or
supposed
no?
to special appear, but they supposed to give notice of their status and their notice of determination of foreign law.
Right.
As a
So you
result,
saying so when you do a notice, they gotta like do they answer that? Is that a reply or do they just
no,
acknowledge?
that's just an acknowledgement. The court got to know who you are when you appear, how you appearing.
Don't do the
If
court does the court have the right to challenge that notice?
the court has the right to review and make a determination based on your status, based upon the records. So a lot of people are not adjusting the record to have a true reflection of their status as it relates to property rights. So most of us don't understand how this stuff works. So we haven't
So,
did or fulfilled the requisites in order to be recognized as is necessary.
so would you say as a volunteer, okay, you're saying that you're a volunteer dealing with property from a volunteer perspective, right? Like we handle we handle property, but it's not ours. We're in a volunteer status, right?
Right,
Okay, so right, so the status you're a volunteer dealing with property
right,
versus having it in your having your nationality adjust. I mean, you're adjusting your status to your nationality. You say as it relates to treaty, right?
right. A treaty is property because rights are property. Rights are property of the nation as it relates to treaty. Everything is dealing with property. The law follow the property. So a right is a claim of right is a property right as it relates to a contract, relates to your status within the treaty or a contract. Who are you? What is your nature of your status in the contract? Are you a debtor? Are you a bailee? Are you an assigner? What is your status in the contract? Who are you? Are you a third party? What is your rights in relationship to the contract?
So I got to ask you this: like, there are many different types of status, correct?
Of course.
So all status relates back to property. Is that what you're saying, or no?
Yeah, pretty much. Because it's going to deal with standing. In order to get a remedy, right, you got to have status is equal to standing. What is your standing as relationship to the property rights? Because the law, right, governs the property.
The law
So if
governs the property.
right, so if you right, let's
Yeah.
say this right, let's say your status, let's say let's say me and you got a car, right? The car in both of our name is just under contract. That got we got equal rights and access to the car, and we spell out the terms and conditions. Now let's say my brother, right? He's trying to get access to the car. He ended up getting access to the car, and he's driving it, right?
Access like broke in or just took. I mean, what, like
Like he might have stole the key and started
okay,
driving the car or what around, right?
he didn't get no permission from nobody.
He didn't get no permission. He don't his status as it relates to he's a non-contractual party with no status as it
He's
relates to property. He's,
right.
right? So what is his status as it relates to property?
At, what is his status that relates to the property, meaning the car? What
The
is his
car.
status to the car? Okay,
And his name
it's
nowhere not a signatory on the contract. He
right.
has
He's not on the insurance.
he's not on the insurance. And then he turn around and tear up the property. And he's nowhere in the
Right.
contract. What is his relationship to the property?
I got you. And so you're saying like as a more our relationship a lot of times is non-con like we don't have a contract with the property that we like
So
our yeah like what are you I mean that's what I'm are you saying that as a more we don't have any contract with the property.
no, what it is that the Supreme Court used this term a lot. Vested interest. We don't have no interest in the property, right? You don't have no interest in the property. First of all, you're not buying nothing. Understand what Federal Reserve is. You're not paying for anything. So the Constitution says you can only do what? Make a payment in what? Gold and silver.
Gold or silver, right?
So you're already operating outside of the Constitution, right? And now you're not everything that you buy is in Federal Reserve notes. So what did you pay for?
So what's that in commercial law? That's commercial law, right?
That's commercial law. You're dealing in commercial banking as it relates to what is. That's why they can seize the property. They can seize it because it wasn't yours. If the money was yours, how could they take it? How could they come and seize your gold if it was really your gold?
And
If it was yours,
unless you got it, all right. If it was yours, legit, like
legit,
no crime
no crime. You ain't stole
involved,
it from nobody. You earned it, right?
they can't because it's your property, right?
Right.
It's it's and that's true. Gold and silver wasn't owned by anyone. It wasn't. It wasn't owned. Hold up.
But who made gold and silver? That's the question.
Right. Go ahead. I gotta. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm just. I don't know what happened to my cam. Okay.
So
I'm gonna see if it come back
let
on.
me let me ask you this, right? Who made gold and silver?
It's nature.
Okay,
The
so
Naters, the Neteru.
it's the Netaru. Okay, nature created it. Mother Nature, right?
Right.
From the elements, from her elements, right?
So
So
it wasn't man. It wasn't man made.
it wasn't man made, so he can't tax it.
It's just like food. You can't copyright food. I don't know what. I don't know why I keep doing that, man. Is my power on that? Um, what we say? It's like food. When you got food, natural food, you can't own it. You can't own it. If you modify it, you can own it, but you
You
can't
can
own
own
its natural. You can't own its natural state.
substance. You can't understand. You can't own its natural state as it relates to nature because you didn't create it. Now, if you modify some food or do some stuff and that you genetically modify, now you can own the patent to that, right? And
Right.
own the rights to that, and that's the instruments. So this is what I'm trying to get people to understand as it relates to jurisdiction. People don't understand. So you carrying a gun, right? You didn't really pay for the gun. You use them for Federal Reserve notes. You went out and volunteered and worked, and they paid you in funny money. And then you use the funny money to go get a gun. You technically you don't own it. It's still owned. It's still registered in the United States jurisdiction. So then when they apply their laws to that gun and to you, because you in possession of those instruments to get the gun, right? Because you had to fill
Right.
out paperwork. Now you in possession of that paperwork. Now you're going to try to argue that these laws don't apply, but you in possession. 9/10 of the law is possession, the other 1/10 is trust. So they trust in what you do. So you don't even understand the elements of what to argue in the court. And that's why I say they need to come to the King Bay Masterclass that we're going to be setting up. They need to understand the step by step. They need to understand jurisdictional issues, what to collaterally attack, and stop the jurisdiction under a what? A stopple.
Estoppel.
Yeah,
Okay.
under a stopple. And hit their ass with an injunction estoppel. Hey, this
Ooh,
stuff stop right here.
injunction estoppel.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
So
hear
let
what
me
it
ask you this: we got adjustment of status now. I know we was talking about an adjustment of status. Can you break that down from what you was
okay.
looking at?
So when we talk about adjustment, a lot of people say, correct your status, correct. I can't
Right.
correct my status within your trust. Because that's what it is. You see what I'm saying? I can't, for
Yeah.
example, right? Let's say this, right? You have family members, right? By blood, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not a family member, can I correct my status to make you my brother?
Yeah.
No, you can't. You can't. I can't. I can marry into your family where
Right.
my
That's what
status
I'm. Yeah.
is adjusted, but I can't correct myself to fit into a contract or something that I wasn't uh, a part of. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay. Right.
So that's just like me and you got a contract. Could a third person correct himself to
No.
come and fit into our contract?
No.
So this is what are you correcting? So the only thing you can do is adjust your status as it relates to property rights. Now I could come in and say, hey brother, I want to be a part of this. So what I did, I made an adjustment. Is justified as just. So let's look at the term unjust. What is that? Unjust enrichment. I just add just instead of unjust. I add just my status because I'm adjust. My status a, is adjusted so I can reap the benefits. But if my status is unjust, that means I am enriching myself for something I was never entitled to get a benefit from. This where is unjust enrichment is a law. Says you can't benefit for something that you wasn't helped create and wasn't a part of.
Right.
So this is what I talk about adjustment of status so that you can reap the benefits of the contract. You can't correct the status, you have to make an adjustment so that you can. That's what, if you look up the word adjust, right? It's justified.
Where'd you get that from? Wasn't it like what department did they have that definition to, man? It was
That was
you
from,
had it up, didn't you?
yeah, I had it up. That was adjustment of status. That was under the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service. You want me to share the screen, or you want to
If
share?
yeah, if you want to show it, yeah. I mean, you got it up. I don't have it up. If you want to share it, so you can see where that comes from, adjustment of status, because that's the term. That's the term that's used by some type of governmental agency, you know. So,
Right. Adjustment of
and
status.
we was talking about what is Homeland Security or something.
I
Wasn't
think
they
that
like? Aren't they affiliated with Homeland?
I think they're a part of Homeland Security.
Okay, let me add you to the stream.
Adjustment of status. So we can look up the definition, legal definition for adjustment.
If y'all watching, please like the video
You
and
see,
subscribe and hit the notification, hit the notification bell so we can you can hear get all the videos. All right, go ahead, my brother.
so
I see. I see you on there.
I'm gonna make this bigger. Can you see that?
Yeah,
It said adjustment, the computation of the amount due to an insured and the fixing of the proportion to be borne by the underwriter. So you as the underwriter, right, you're fixing, right, your amount due. So if you look at unjust enrichment, right? So you asking, so a lot of people are talking about status correction, no, or they using these things, no, it's a status adjustment so that you can get what's just due.
I got you. I got you.
Unjust enrichment occurs when a party confers a benefit upon B without party A receiving the proper restitution required by law. This typically occurs when a contractual agreement when party A fulfill his or her part of an agreement and party B does not fulfill his or her part of the agreement.
Mm,
So you got to understand when you make these adjust. Think about when you go out and you give a don't when you have a car accident. Don't you have an adjuster?
yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, I I ain't gonna lie. I never thought about that word in that way. So
So so when we talk about adjustment, you have to adjust your status. It's not correcting. You can't correct a lie or a falsehood. You have to adjust it so that you can get what's due to you. A status correction doesn't imply. I don't know when people got this term status correction, but
I
it's really
I think I
that
know where. I mean, like they often say you're not doing a status change, or to use the word change. they tell you to use the word correcting because you're just, it's kind of like what you're saying. I mean, because you're correcting the record, you're not totally changing it. You are actually, what you are doing is making adjustments to it. So I
You
think
make
when they say the word correcting, they really are meaning that they're making adjustments. They're correcting the record, adjusting the record, not necessarily changing the record, if you
right,
understand what I'm saying.
but so this is why I'm saying words they're very powerful, right? If you
Yeah.
don't adjust the record, you won't get your adjustment. You see what I'm saying? I'm correcting the record. That don't mean I'm gonna get what is just due to me. So let's look at the word legal definition of just due.
And they go back to the word justice.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
So,
do a satisfying or capable of satisfying an obligation, duty, requirement under law, the buyer due performance on the contract, due proof of loss, be proper under the law, obstructing due administration. This is where due process of law come from. Adjustment.
mm,
This is where
mm.
due process, fulfilling your obligation of a contract. So you must make the adjustment so that you can get due process of the law as it relates to what? Treaty rights. So you want to adjust your status to get your rights to the treaty. This
So
is
the
why
reason, as a volunteer, oh, go ahead. I was going to say, as a volunteer, you don't have rights to the treaty,
you
right?
don't have rights. You, as a volunteer, just tell me. So let's okay. Let me stop the screen for a second. Come back on. So let me ask you. It's just common sense questions, right?
No doubt.
Okay, if you go volunteer for any, if you come and say, "Hey man, I'm gonna help you move. I'm gonna volunteer my time to help you move." Do I have to pay you?
No, you don't. You ain't got to do anything unless,
But
but you might volunteer and say, hey, I'm going to have some food or have some beer
But
or something.
I'm just saying, do. But is there amount due? Is there a amount due? There's nothing due. There's nothing required for me. I don't have to pay you. If I pay you, it's out of my consideration of my heart, my kindness. But it's not just due. But if you say, "Hey man, you a moving company and you move me," and you say this is $300 upon finish a movement, what is it? It's just due. It's an adjustment, and I have to pay you, right?
I hear you, brother.
To
Yes,
fulfill it.
sir. Yes, sir.
That's due process of law. We agree due process substantively. See, this is the problem. People don't know the language or understand the operation of law, so they get lost in it. And then they listen to all of these different people who are trying to do all these different processes and they don't know where to start. And they, oh, UCC 1, UCC 2, UCC 3,
I mean, tell them what's wrong.
this
So, what's wrong with the UCCs?
is proprietary information. You haven't came out of that voluntary status. Period. You still in that volunteer, you a volunteer. It says equity do not aid a volunteer. Period.
You say, hold on. You saying UCCs is a volunteer? It's still dealing with volunteer status?
You still in that. You never came out of that volunteer status.
Hold on. I mean, but they be putting in there they status in the UCCs. Like, this is my property, right? I mean, like you said, they go back to property rights. So when they do their UCC ones, a lot of
Hmm.
aren't you putting your property, what is your property in the UCC ones, right?
So that a lot of people try to lean. What are you leaning? See, this is what I talk about the commingling of property
Hmm.
rights. They don't
You saying
understand.
they putting a lien on the
Yeah,
UCCs is them putting a lien? Is that what you're
yes.
saying?
They're trying to put a
Oh,
commercial
oh,
lien
okay.
on property. What property? So first of all, we gotta look at the property they trying to lien. First of all, who manufactured the property? Who's the manufacturer?
What you mean? Who's right?
Okay, I'm just saying, how you gonna lien something that you didn't create?
How you gonna? Well, is it that you got to create it, or is it something that you have to have ownership to? How you gonna put a lien on something you don't own?
Well, how do you
Because you did.
determine if how do you determine if you own something? Ain't it by contract? Ain't
uh,
you got ain't don't you gotta be if you got a contract, don't you gotta be named the owner in the contract? Ain't it all by contractual conditions? Ain't it all about the contract to determine your status relationship with property? So
I got
now
you.
you have the lawful authority to lien it so nobody else can utilize it. Now people are just they going in the court and the court is looking at them funny like,
Like, well, you a volunteer. How are you claiming UCC rights? Is that
yeah,
what you mean?
yeah, they going there, they don't listen, they're in a volunteer status. They listen, you just signed over everything to the United States. And now you going there with some UCCs. Tell me, I'm finna lean up everything. And they don't even understand the status that they're in. That the United States owe them no benefit. They don't like
Because
you ain't under contract with us.
so let me ask you this: is a trust considered property?
A trust is property.
Okay, so who owns the trust to the UCCs? The stuff that they trying to get. Who own that trust? They calling on.
I think we looked that up. I think it's the bar association that owns.
Hold on, no, I'm saying like when you go in court, like okay, you got brothers going to court, right? And they be like,
Okay.
I am the benefactor of the trust and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
That's what they trying to say. They trying to go in there saying, well, I'm a benefactor or whatever on the trust, and so
All of
what?
this stuff.
Now they don't own it.
All of this stuff is trust law. Let me explain something to you. All of this stuff is trust law, and let me make it how simple it is. Right. You don't know. You don't know. No, half the people we don't know on the other side of the telephone when we fill out credit cards, bank loans, all of that. They are entrusting you, right? All of this stuff is a trust relationship. Here's the problem: you want to take somebody else's property and then you want to claim it as yours in your trust. So they don't understand law. They don't understand the game that need to be being played. So what do? They start putting property in the trust that they technically don't own. So what do the government do? Pierce the veil of your trust. Look up piercing the veil.
There's a book on that, right?
Yeah, no, hold on. They got laws. I'm
Right,
pulling.
but they got a book called Piercing the Veil, and that's dealing with the UCCs.
Yeah,
So I'm just saying,
they gonna pierce the veil of your trust because first of all, you gotta ask yourself this question: what is Moorish manufacturing? What are they mass producing? Are we making cars, guns, clothes, shoes, hats, tires, planes, boats? Are we
hey,
making these things?
they say that more. They say that Noble Drew Ali had a trust, right? So
So,
you
but what
know,
does that mean? Because you got to trust. What are you manufacturing out of that trust? What do the trust represent? There's so many things that goes in the trust law that shoots over people's head. Most people don't understand the language. what I call trigger language in trust, trigger language in contract. So trigger language is where a condition may happen, like they call the Guys Act, right? So you might have a terms and conditions in the contract that if Mother Nature acts or strikes, that you can't receive benefits of the insurance due to the fact that it was a natural event by God.
Okay.
That but that's triggered that condition had triggered the language, right? Because a lot of times the insurance company will get recoupment when if you tear up somebody's car, right? And I got insurance and you got insurance, the insurance company tends to pay the other insurance company for what they lost. So it's called recoupment.
Mm. Okay. Okay. I got you.
So we
I
got
got
to understand the game that's being played. I don't think we understand it. I think some people are just too far to the left or too far to the right and not in center, right? Some people say it's this so much, and some people say it's that so much that they are off centered. They don't know what to aim for. They don't know how to collaterally attack. That's where we come in at. We litigated for a long time. So that's where my experience come from, right? You the history teacher. You taught me history. I'm the legal guy. So when I need points of reference in history, I come to you. So when it comes down to the legal stuff, based upon my legal experience, me being able to deal with them courtrooms on a federal and state level, dealing with variety of cases, gave me the understanding on what to look for when I'm examining a case. What do I need to? How do I need to deal with the court from jump? What do I need to safeguard? People don't even understand contractual safeguards.
contractual safeguards.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, all this is dealing back with property rights, we dealing with contracts,
and it's dealing with status.
dealing with status. And so, and that's something else I want to say about status. There are so many different type of status, and I talked about like when you even your job. When you're talking about a volunteer, you got a volunteer as a status. You
Right.
got an employer as
It's
a
a
status. You got employee as a
it's
status, and you got independent contracting as a status. So it's like there's so many. When we talk about status, that's a broad word for various different type of positions or places that you hold as a title. So let me
age
ask you this, because status and title, how does status and title relate, or is there any relation?
for its title. Um,
Like your title as a human, and is that got to do with your status, or is that two different things?
Title and status has a relationship. Okay, for example, right? You a manager, right? That's your title, right? But in your managerial position, as it relates to your status, defines who you are in relationship in the contract as it relates to the property rights of the franchise or whatever the the institution is or entity is. So your status as it relates to title, you might be the president. That's the title, right? But what your status is going to be defined by the contractual nature of what you're supposed to do or your scope or your duties within the contract. So,
Okay. Okay. So like, okay, with the president of the United States, okay, is that
right,
is that a title?
that's his
But
title.
but what is his status? Yeah.
His
What's
status
the
is,
status?
what is it? What they call him? They call him, well, over the military. He's chief. What do they
Commander in
call
chief. Commander in
commander?
chief.
That's his status.
Shit. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. That's hot.
His
Okay.
title is president, but his status is commander in chief. And based upon what he's commander in chief of, determines his status in relationship to that institution, which is property rights, his rights. He has the
I got
right
you.
to tell you this and the rights to tell you that because he sits above you with his authority. His authority, as it relates to his status, is going to determine his title as a relationship with his authority, right? And your status, right, as it relates to your authority, determines what you can and what you can't do, which is your scope and duty and obligations.
I got you. So let me ask you this about nationality. What do you think is the proper way to establish your nationality?
The proper way to establish them, there's, I think there's a procedural guideline because we're talking about one of the biggest words is that's recognize. How do they United States recognize your status? And and that's what you need to do as it relates to nationality. You want them to recognize it. So what do you want to do?
Yeah,
So a lot of
absolutely.
people you have to come. So I like going to scripture. The Bibles even tell you you have to be in the world but not of it. So we got to
Break that
come
down,
out.
man. What you mean by that?
That
What you mean
means
by that?
that you don't supposed to be of the jurisdiction. You supposed to either you so United States, if you look at all the United States, they're the states of, right? State of New York, state of um, Ohio, state of California.
Yeah,
You're supposed to be in the you supposed to be in the world but not of it. Meaning that you don't supposed to be participating in these political and social issues as it relates to the jurisdiction. This is where you get caught up. So a lot of us are registered to vote. That's a record. They got a record that you are entertaining or in compliance with the jurisdiction because we got a record that you are registered to vote. They got records that reflect the things that you're participating in to establish your jurisdiction, to establish jurisdiction.
I
So,
got you.
what you have to do with your nationality as it relates to this, you have to understand the treaty. I'm gonna tell people to start really studying and breaking down the treaty first to really understand truly the proper way to establish nationality. Then look at the Constitution. Read that because I can tell you some things, right? And then most people say, "Man, I went out there and did what King Delbay said," and then next thing you know, man, that stuff didn't work. And I'm like, they never made proper follow through. They took what I said as golden and they didn't make sure they know how to do what they call effective communication with the proper institution. So let's say me and you doing business, right? And I say, man, I need to send my assistant up to go pick up this money from Vanderlei. Now I done told you plenty of times, man, don't give nobody my money under particular circumstances, right?
Right?
Now, I send this person, and I told you, I put it in writing, the particular circumstance to give this guy my money. What you got to do is what? Recognize that circumstances and know that I told him in confidence so he might show you something, bring you something, or do something to stimulate, oh, this the guy I need to give the money to.
Right.
You
I
see
just
what
want
I'm
to give a shout. Peace out. I want to give a shout out. Marcus Garvey's birthday was on the 17th. I know we're a little late, but
saying? Yeah,
Ashe, happy
I said,
happy solar return to the Marcus Garvey. Okay. So anyway, go ahead, my brother.
peace, peace. That's big, man. We need to celebrate and honor our ancestors because
Ashe.
that was something that he was trying to do. He was trying to bring us together and try to get us to industrialize. And our people didn't come together with that. It's time for a change. Sometimes I feel like we are our biggest enemies. You know what I'm saying? So it's just understanding this game, man. A lot of people don't get it. So a lot of people be wondering, why can't get they be about these processes and why they don't work? Because you don't understand. You don't understand the game that you're playing. You haven't
Well,
took the time to read to understand what you need to do.
but and that too, but it's a process, right? So like,
Right.
you know, you may understand like, oh, okay, our status is not corrected, right, or adjusted. So we don't know how to adjust it. We don't know the process on how to adjust it. Like where do you go? What's the proper avenues? What federal what federal agencies do we file these things to? There are a lot of things that are not there for us that we don't really understand as well. So um, it's just time for us to keep learning. It's time for us to broaden our horizons and break that ceiling that we at, because sometimes as a Moor there is a certain ceiling that we bumping on, and you know we got to bust through that because it's a higher understanding. So
Right. I'm also gonna recommend that Morris. I gotta give some props out to a brother of mine. It's a white guy. His name is Keith Little. He dropped a lot of game, a lot of sauce. Um, um,
yeah, yeah. Shout
I
out to
think
Keith Little, man. He do be dropping bars, man.
he was dropping some bars, and I think a lot of people need to tune in. Like I said, I've been rocking with Keith for a while. I've been branching off trying to get some of my own things done as it relates to New Kemet and Musk. As we bring we got something we finna drop soon this month. It's about to be releasing, so just stay tuned. We're gonna have some real live stuff. So, like I said, y'all gotta watch, man, to see what's going on. Like I said, it's too many processes. It's a lot of convoluted information. It's a lot of people talking that, but I can say this: me and Keith, I'm gonna run this past Keith. Everybody think they want to do verses and all of that stuff and want to do that, put up some bread.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. So
yeah,
you ready to bang against who? Who you trying to bang? You said knowledge. You said knowledge versus. Who you trying
I'm
to
just,
get at,
I'm
bro?
I ain't trying to get at nobody yet. I gotta run it past my dude Keith yet. I gotta see,
Yeah.
and if people want to, pay for the get down. They want to smoke. I talk to Keith and see if we can break it down, and we'll put the stuff on the table.
I don't know too many knowledge versus cats though, except for one. And I ain't saying no
I,
names.
no, I'm just, I'm just saying, I want to break this down because it's all about procedural prowess. What I try to tell people, like, I want to show people because everybody is good at what they do. We talking about entertainment, right? I'm not knocking nobody, but when it comes down to this legal game, this legal stuff, legally,
Now you saying legal versus lawful. So
I'm talking
I mean,
about. I'm just saying when it comes down to we going and talking about how to do this stuff in court and win and do this for real. I'm a
they,
heavy hitter.
they need
I'm
to
just
follow you, bro. Like for real, y'all. We need to start following his page. What is it? The Moorish?
Moorish
What is it?
Universal Society of Tribes.
Yeah, I mean, like, get on that page. I know every time I get on here, it click me out, man. But I'll be hold on. Just let me get this. I don't know why I
I'm
keep
a,
taking.
I'm a rock with Keith, and we gonna drop this sauce. Keith told me he wanted to do something a while back. Um, I want to salute the brother because he did got 20,000 hours in. You know how long I've been doing this. I've been
A
doing
long
this.
time. I
So
mean, Keith, we break it down. Like, what is one of the things? Because Keith, we were breaking
woo,
something down earlier. What was
my
we breaking down
God,
earlier? You took note on it, didn't you?
yeah, he was breaking down. My God, man, this he a bad mofo. He was breaking down the postal. He
Yeah.
was, let me see. He was talking about the the Postal Service Board of Contract of Appeals. He was breaking down the venue on the intellectual property. He was breaking down the UPU. He was just tying it all in to the tribunal that there's three judges always involved that they're not telling you that it's all dealing with copyright royalties.
Oh shit. What?
Like,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I
let
mean,
me hold on. Let me go to the video. I ain't gonna lie, man. Keith a bad mofo, man. It's called Assessment Authority, right? And he going over
assessment of.
Assessment Authority. He got a video called Assessment Authority. If you
Okay.
go to his, I don't know if he got El Perro. If you go to that he got 230 views. He break it down. It may go over some people's head, but I need to talk to Keith because I know he would love to do some stuff and we can put on some shows, man. You know, if I'm gonna be if he willing to go,
Hey, let
we
Keith come on. Like I want Keith to come on the and we can have him on.
yeah, and join
Yeah.
teams. We, I'm just saying those who want to smoke can get it. They can get it. We can show them. We can show them. And it ain't no. I mean, we gonna look at the statue. This ain't about no guessing. This ain't about because I don't really want to give away all the game because we putting up a lot of stuff that we want to do. You know how I am now. Like I'm done giving up all this free information because I've been giving it away for years. Everybody been like, hey, we know how we've been doing it, Bandalay.
Right.
You know, a
Facts.
lot of brothers want to they want to, and then they want to paste this stuff, and they don't understand. We've been giving the game away, but I want to show you in their context. Like a lot of people don't understand de facto,
Yeah, that's what you was talking about.
de
Break down
facto.
de facto, bro. Cause what do y'all understand about de facto? Go ahead. Go ahead.
So look at the word itself, the context of the word de. So if you take the word de, it means away from or apart. So you say denounce, right? Dethrone. Uh, what's another word that deals with de? De.
Def,
Depart.
defamation, defamation, whatever. when you defame somebody, to defame somebody.
Yeah, defame, right? I know what you're trying to say, but D means away from. So they changed the etymology of the word to mean something else. But they tell you it's a de facto government that is away from fact. It's de facto. That means it's you dealing in science fiction. It's nothing they're doing is based on fact. But here's the kicker. They got the what? Rules of evidence. And what is the standard of rules of evidence? It's all factual in nature. The standard of practice is based on fact.
Hold on, you
So
said
look at
say
the
that again,
rules.
man.
The rules of evidence. This is you're dealing with a de facto government, right? But the rules of evidence is scientific in nature. It's based on fact. This stuff going over some people's head, man. I ain't gonna give y'all all the game. This is going over some people's head.
Hey, hold up
They
though.
ain't,
So okay,
they ain't ready for this. They ain't ready for this, man. They ain't
nah,
ready
not for
for
real,
this.
not for
I'm
real.
trying to, and what I'm trying to tell people, I've been litigating. I litigated for a long time. And I got people, I won people cases. This ain't something I'm talking about. I really help people. I did a lot of different things. I
Oh
really
yeah,
helped people.
oh yeah. We got people. Yeah, definitely, man,
We
definitely.
started
So
we started winning. Boom, 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 boom. Consistent wins. Back to back pills and all of this stuff. Come on, man. This is what I try to say. This ain't nothing. This is not a game. You
one thing
know?
that you got to realize is that you got to start thinking. You think like them, like when you begin to understand how they think, so that you can anticipate the move. If you know what I'm saying. But hey, now look,
Exactly.
de facto away from fact. So we was talking about that. He was saying if you're away from fact, what is the opposite of fact? Fiction, right?
Fiction,
So when you're away from fact, you are in fiction. De
right?
facto means so you're saying de facto is really fiction. So
Fiction.
we talking about legal fictions again, right?
Legal fiction, or you might as well say science fiction.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah. And that's what yeah. So you talk about this is science fiction based on de facto.
right.
All right, break that down. You talking about science fiction? How is it science fiction versus
Because law,
legal fiction? Okay, go ahead.
so we got to understand science fiction. Law is based in science. There is a science to this, right? There's a mechanism, there's a thought process, there is philosophy, there is a lot of work that's been done. It's scientific in nature. Man had to think about this and construct this. So this is like you building a house. There's science to building a house. You have to know proper measurements and all of this. This was very calculated. This is why we call it science fiction. This is just like when you write a script. Most people write a script to a movie. They have it's a method of writing, a technique of understanding of writing a script that you need to know. There's a science in everything that you do. So this is based on fiction, and they use a particular form of science, right, to utilize this fiction. And you're caught in this science fiction movie, right? You're caught in this web, like I told you, the spider in the web doctrine, right?
Wait, the Truman Show.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
So now you don't know how to get out of this science fiction, right? And you don't understand what it's all about because it's a science fiction movie. And you're a character in the movie. You just volunteer to what? be an actor in this movie and don't get paid for it.
What you like, an extra or something? You like
You,
the extras in the movie?
yeah, you don't even get paid for nothing, right? And they using this, and you don't even understand the game. So this is why I say, a lot of people going to break down certain things, but I'm like, have you read the instructions to the game? Do you truly understand the instructions? Because I try to tell people life is a thinking man's sport. This is critical thinking, using your intelligence. You see what I'm saying? This is about using your intelligence. So when I break this stuff down, we when we bust out this thing we about to do, we're gonna move on a different level. I'm gonna tell you something. This is why I love Todd so much. I remember one time when I first started watching Todd, I didn't
Shout
even
out to Taj Tariq. Shout
invest.
out.
I rock with. He's the master teacher, right? So I used to watch him, and I couldn't understand. Now I understand everything that he's saying as it relates to what we need to be doing. We just don't get it. And a lot of people, man,
Hey man.
I can't stand what they do to ties, man. I really don't like a lot of the ridicule or other stuff, and they be trying to defame Todd. I don't really don't like it because most of these people, if you put them in the courtroom, they couldn't even hold a paper bag. They couldn't. I hear all this. I hear all the craziest nonsense. Brothers be like I was telling the brother. He was telling me all this. He was working on his mortgage, and I ain't go. This is my brother. I rock with him, but he was telling me all this stuff, and I was telling him what to do. Like, bro, come and listen to me. Come on, let me just tell you. Let me give you some experience. He ain't do none of the stuff I told him. He tried all these processes. Then he come back and say, "Man, this stuff didn't work." Now he's
Yeah.
trying to help me get him, and I'm trying to tell him what the stuff is. I'm like, and I break it down. I say, y'all don't even read the Ten Commandments. Y'all don't even understand what this stuff is all about. Y'all don't even know how to collaterally attack the jurisdiction. Crack every component of the jurisdiction and dismantle it. Unravel everything that they're doing.
Hold on. So hold on. I mean, you talk about Ten Commandments, and okay, what you mean?
The Ten Commandments.
But
Like
yeah, I mean,
commandments, it has structure to it. Like first of all, one of them is don't covet your neighbor, wife,
wife.
property, his servants, his mule, and all of that. They
Would you say that a covenant?
covet.
Would you say a covenant is property?
A covenant is an agreement. Rights
Okay.
are
All right.
always property. A contract is always dealing in property rights. So the Supreme Court says where there's no obligation and duty, there's only immunity.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
If you ain't got no obligation or duty to nobody, you immune from the jurisdiction.
Okay. Facts. Oh, y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? Okay. That's
I
that's
got the
heavy,
case,
man.
I got the case law. I can pull it up. I mean, I just we got so much info. This is what I'm trying. Once you understand the game, but you got to study the game to really. And the reason why I was in the Lions Den, the court taught me everything that I need to know. I didn't just wake up. I read a bunch of books I had to take what I thought I knew and apply it in the courtroom. The court gave me my answers. They
It
smacked me
was.
around. I ain't gonna
Yeah,
lie.
they did.
I learned the hard way. I learned some lessons, but guess what? I got it. I
It
got it.
was right. It was the experience
It was
that.
the experience.
Yeah.
It's what they said to me, and I studied. So as I looked at all the stuff, they tell you it's only one form of action and shall be known as a civil action. You only
You
have
says
right. Right. If you look
okay.
at the civil rules of procedure and the federal rules of procedure, it states there's only one form of action, and it shall be known as a civil action. All crimes are commercial.
Facts.
So we got to understand what we're dealing with. You're dealing in civil rights. You're dealing in contracts. What it says, you have an unlimited, what's an unalienable right? The one right that you have is what? Contract. You have a right
In
to contract
right. When they
forever.
say inalienable is inalienable. Right.
Inalienable. It's
Fact. Yep.
inalienable, right? Your right to contract is inalienable. Nobody can take you out of your right to contract. So we get to talking about all this other stuff, and I'm saying we lost because we don't know the game that they playing. Some of us is just too far to the right. Some of us is too far to the left. We're not on center. We off kill. So it gets hard to deal with things. And this is where my experience from litigation came in and helped me see things with a clear view. And I ain't gonna lie, shout out to Keith for running some stuff by me. Uh, and he break down those codes, man. He like I haven't seen nobody break down them codes better than Keith. Period. On the internet. Period.
We gotta get Keith. Look, man, we gonna have Keith on the show before it was the end of the week, bro. We need Keith to come on the show, man, because like you said, I've watched Keith. I haven't watched Keith as much as you, but I don't watch the brother, man, and hey, he go hard in that stuff, man. He does break down those United States codes, bro. Like, he give you the understanding, the definitions of that stuff, man. What an employee is. So so I understand why you say status because that's how they trick us out of our nationality. You know,
They trick you out of your nationality. We go in there with overkill because we don't understand. And we go in there with UCCs. We go in there with all of this stuff, and then we wonder why it don't work. And then this is what I look at. After a while, they say, "Oh, we're gonna let some of them through. We ain't gonna let everybody through. We gonna let one win the case." And they do it so they don't get the masses in hysteria. Or we let one or two win. We gonna lock out the rest of the 98. It's out of 100, only three may win. That's a good number.
the 90. Well, the 90. You got the 5%, the 85ers, the
Right,
85% nation.
right.
The
So
dumb, deaf, and blind. Right.
so they keep us. So that's how they keep it going. Cause they want. It's like winning a lottery. You you keep playing because you hoping you gonna win something.
Yeah, it's the hope, it's the thrill. But now let me say something. We talk about the Moors, but what about like the sovereign? You got the Albions, the so-called whites that practice like a sovereign. I don't want to say sovereign citizenship, but for lack of a better word, they got that sovereign citizenship type thing, and they the ones that's talking about the bank accounts, the your social security number being linked to a bank account, and how to get a hold of that bank account. What do you think about that? Because that's part of this. This is kind of part of this, right?
So the first thing we need to understand, okay, who can interpret law? Who has the right to interpret law? So let's look at what it is. Okay, if you live in the state of Ohio, they're called what? Ohio Revised Code. What is a code? What is a code? If somebody puts something in code, right? They use letter, words, and symbols to keep a message hidden, right? For secrecy, right?
Ooh, that's deep. Right. The code. Right. Okay.
So you say universal commercial code, United States code, code of federal regulations. These are all codified. It's
Facts.
classified information for your eyes only information, and you don't have the status or the class to interpret the law. That's one of the problems that you have. So you going in there
So
making frivolous arguments about stuff that you don't even have the right because you're not a member, because all of that stuff written in code is intellectual property, copyright material. And you must get a release to even use that intellectual property.
I thought but hold on. I thought that people were a 14th Amendment. You're a 14th Amendment citizen.
Remember we broke that down.
I know we did, but I mean, I mean,
You want to go to the fourth? Okay, so I'm gonna read off the Constitution for y'all, right? And me and Chief was breaking this down because I had to go to Article 1, Section 9 in the Constitution to show you you're not a 14th Amendment citizen as it relates to due process of law. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States. Okay, so where is the United States?
where's the United States?
Yeah,
Yeah, where is the United States? Is it in D.C.?
that's where it originates from, and it's spread out through its jurisdiction. So
Okay.
explain to me when was you naturalized in the United States? When did you get naturalized? How did you get naturalized? Or how was you born in the United States?
Right. They said. I mean, you were born. I mean, naturalization is supposed to be people who were born somewhere else, and then they was going. They went through a process to become a citizen. Right.
Okay,
And that's naturalized. Right.
right?
But you got born. We not born? Like, were you not born in a hospital in the state of somewhere, Ohio or somewhere?
So
Tell me, bro.
let's look at the word born. All
Uh
persons
oh.
born, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Born is, if you look up Black's laws as it relates to born, you're gonna understand it's dealing with the creation of something, right?
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
all persons born or naturalized in the United States.
So all
So,
persons created. Created.
right? So they
Created
got
by who?
by
I'm
them
sorry.
through instrumentality, through instruments, right?
Okay.
It
Okay.
says in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. I want you to read it. It says all persons are or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states where they reside. So it's talking about all persons born, naturalized, and subjects.
All born, naturalized, and subjects?
So
What you mean?
let's look
How
it up.
about
Let's pull it up. Let me pull it up. Let me share the screen.
yeah, share your screen, God. Share your screen,
Okay,
God.
there we go. Let's go. Let's go. You got me up there?
Yeah, hold on. Let me put you. Okay, there you go. Hold on. My computer be dragging a little bit, so It's okay. It should be up. Word up. Forgive me, y'all. Like I said, y'all like the video, subscribe, and share the info. Share the knowledge. Y'all can't tell me that we can't tell me that we ain't dropping nothing. This is fire.
Did you share? Did you?
Hold on. My fault. I think I clicked twice, so it should be doing it again. There
Mm,
we go.
mm, mm, mm.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, man, it's time to get this crack a lack a lacking.
Is it up?
I
I
don't
got you up,
know.
right? You don't see
I
it?
think yeah, yeah, you got me up. Yeah.
Word.
So it says all. Can you see that? All persons born, right? Can you see that,
Yep.
man? Then it says
Yeah,
or
I got a small screen, but I can see it.
or naturalized in the United States, right? Then it got an
Right?
and. That's a conjunction, right? Subjects. It says and subjects to the United States. It says and subjects to the jurisdiction thereof. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subjects to the jurisdiction thereof, comma, are citizens of the states and of the it says are citizens of the United States and of the state where they reside.
Right. That's
So
what me and you was talking about.
they talking about three persons. They said this all persons born now. Then they said all or naturalized in the United States. So these are two different forms of people. This is a person that was born. This is a person that was naturalized. And then they say and subjects to the jurisdiction thereof. Who is the subjects?
Yeah. Who's the subject? Is that us?
Of course. So we thought we was born in the United States, right? And I'm gonna show you wasn't born in the United States. That you are this a subject to the jurisdiction thereof, or citizens of the United States. So how you a subject? You are volunteer, and that's the subject matter as it relates to jurisdiction.
Damn. So the subject is the volunteer. Is that what you say?
Yeah, you're subject to the jurisdiction because you are a volunteer.
Volunteer. Right.
You're a volunteer. That's your status as it relates to the jurisdiction. You're a subject.
Damn.
I
Under the
didn't
14th Amendment.
under the 14th Amendment. So let's go up here to the ninth, Article 1, Section 9, as it relates to Congress and its jurisdiction. So people gonna say, hey, King LV,
There you go.
I ain't gonna stop. I ain't gonna stop. It says right here, Article 1, Section 9, the migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit. Now, what do that mean, shall think proper? That means they got
Yeah.
to abide by the law. Shall not
Okay.
be prohibited by Congress prior to the year 1808, but a duty or tax may mean must be imposed on such importation not exceeding $10 for each person. I didn't make this stuff up. So
All right. So I'm gonna say
so
break that down, bro.
so they impose a duty on us, right? A tax and a
Okay.
duty. So when they created us, they imported us. So what happens when you're born, right? Who do you first go deal with? You don't go
I'm
to the
not
feds, you go to the state. And they
true.
create
Okay.
you a birth certificate, right?
Facts.
Then you go where? To the Social Security. Now that's federal, right? Now what happens? The state imports you. How many birth? I know in the state of Ohio, I got two birth certificates. I got one in all caps. Then I got the long form, the one in lowercase.
Yeah. I I
Everybody,
thought right.
every state don't do it like that, but my state does. Well, our state does anyway.
Right. Right. So I
You
mean,
can
and
go
another thing too is that it goes to the Census Bureau.
right, man. Just go. Listen, the Department of Defense deals with the birth certificate. They don't want me to go. We've been on here for a minute. They don't want none of this sauce. That's why I said me and Keith,
Nah, you right.
the Department of State,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
Department of.
We need to get we
Hold on, but hold on.
go
Let me
ahead.
show you this. So now they put a tax on the duties may be imposed on such importation, not exceeding $10. How do they do this? Now let's go to the Ohio Constitution. Let me go here, right? They don't even know what they're part of, my brother. They don't even know. I'm gonna hit you with the flow. They don't want.
Hey,
They don't want this, man. They don't listen, man. Listen.
this
This
yeah.
Ohio Constitution. Who shall perform military duties? What does
Who?
it say? All citizens, residents of this state, being 17 years of age and under the age of 67 years, shall be subject to enrollment in the militia. What that say? What? Hold on. Did that say
67.
shall be what subject? Hold on. Subjects. Here go the word
It said, hold on.
subject
Subject to what? What did it say after that?
to
Subject to
enroll
enrollment.
in the
Subject to enrollment, though. They
enrollment.
just saying that you. Okay,
Shall
how are you interpreting that? How
I'm
are you
saying
interpreting?
okay, so we're talking about subject. You a subject shall be subject to enroll in the militia.
Are they saying that you're going to be subject, meaning not necessarily as a noun,
It says shall
but
be.
as a verb? Is
I
that a
want
verb or a
I want
noun?
you to understand in legalese what shall be mean. Shall mean must be subject to enroll in the militia. Let's go
So
to
it's right. So you must basically it's saying that you must enroll. You are, but you're trying to say the word subject means something else. Is that what you're saying?
but what I'm saying is that we're talking about subject and subject matter jurisdiction. So
All
if
right.
we go to subject, hold on, let me show you better. I can tell you what is the
Yeah,
subject.
you can show me better. You can show me better
Let me show you. Right, we're
because
gonna
you know
talk about.
I'm gonna
We're
be a
gonna
devil's advocate coming
right.
at you.
Let's go to subject. Right, what's the subject? Let's go to subject. Right, all this stuff. Subject. So here goes subject matter. Right. Subject, they got a subject matter, okay? So they didn't say subject matter because this is a word. It says the issue presented for consideration, the thing in which a right or a duty has been asserted, the thing in dispute. What is the first word we talked about? Patentable subject matter. Something written. Y'all don't really want y'all don't really want this. Y'all don't really want these issues, man. I ain't even trying to go there. Now let's go to subject. one who owes allegiance to a sovereign and is governed by that sovereign's law. Y'all, man, they really want to go here with King back?
It's all about interpretation. I mean, normally we look at that word subject to mean something else because I think we mix English, English
They
like
talk legalese.
language with right with legalese. We
They
using English, they using legalese. Yeah.
they using legalese. So if we go back, right, where was we at? Right here. Look at the word shall be subject. The word subject to enrollment in the militia. So I was talking to my dude about enrollment versus admittance. So let's go to enrollment versus what's the difference? Oh, let me hit Google. So there's a difference from you being enrolled or admitted. That's the two difference. I can show you that on the law, but let's
So
go.
so are we? So we're enrolled in school. Hey, that makes sense. Okay, like when you in elementary, first grade through high school, is that an enrollment or are you admitted? Because it sounds like when you go to college, you admitted or something.
Difference
Am I
between admission and enrollment refers to applying to
busted
study
up?
in a
Busted.
program. Enrollment refers to now this the course of a program. Let's go. Let me see difference. See, sometimes they give you explain.
Right?
No difference between admission and enrollment. The term admission refers to the entire admission process, which include applying, enrollment, and registration. In the most instances, it refers to the process of actual applying and let me get admission and enrollment might sound the same, primarily because they often used interchangeably. However, they are not exactly the same. In most instances, they may be used in place of each other. Each one has a different implication. The term admission refers to the entire admission process, which includes applying, enrollment, and registration, right? And then
Okay.
enrollment is when the application has been accepted and the student must now enroll into college, submit the required documents
See?
to the admissions office. So now let's go here to let's go to law. Let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all something. Let's go to the Black's laws admission. Let me show you something.
The black law. The black law.
The black law. Let me show them the black law. It's dealing with color of law. Admission. Admissions. They got admissions tax. Admissions. Hold on. Admissions. Any statement or assertion made by a party to a case and offered against the party. An acknowledgement that facts are true. And admissions. So look at this. Any statement or assertion made by a party to a case and offer against that party an acknowledgement that facts are true, right? So
Okay.
we're talking about admissions, okay? So you got you got a solemn admission, a tacit admission, and it says implied admission and a true admission. Now, let me see. Admission against interest, right? A person's statement, acknowledgement of fact that is harmful to a person's position, especially as a litigation. An admission against interest must be made either by a litigant or by one in privity with or occurring the same legal position as the litigant. As an exception to the hearsay rule, it is admissions whether or not the person is available as a witness. A declaration against interest, by contrast, is made by a non-litigant who is not in privity with a litigant. A declaration against interest is also admissible as exceptions to the hearsay rule, but only when the declarant is unavailable as a witness.
So you said a mouthful, bro. I mean, like this, you
Like we
gotta.
need to understand, we need to understand there's a difference between admissions. Admissions. It's so what do you have when you have a company? And a mission statement. This is you add missions. So when you dealing with somebody, right, you got to do what? Under oath. You got to come under any statement. You got to come. Why you got to come under oath when you go to the court? Why do they ask you to come under oath? They
I
always
mean,
ask you to come under oath. Why do you got to come under the penalty of perjury? These are admissions.
I see. I got you. I got you.
So now they can tie you to the jurisdiction.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, exactly.
So now let's go to enrollment. We're going to look at this as it relates to jurisdiction. Enroll. Enroll.
Roll, man. Roll, man.
Enroll. Let's go
Yeah,
here.
I know we gonna after you do this, we probably gonna get ready to
Get
call it
off.
a night. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all. We out here late night. We some night owls up in this piece. You feel me? But you
Hold
know,
on. Look at this.
this is the witching hours. You know what I'm saying? The witching hour. Go ahead, bust it.
Enrollment. The act of recording or registering as spelled. Right?
Right.
Enrollment. Enrollment of a vessel.
Register.
Right? Maritime law. The recording
Oh snap.
certification of vessels used in coastal and inland navigation. You
Hold on.
in
This is enrollment. Hold up.
enrollment.
Enrollment of records.
Enrollment of vessels. You
I
consider the
mean
vessel.
vessels.
This is why you coming on a maritime admiralty law, as distinguished from the registration of vessels used in foreign commerce. Enrollment and registry are used in distinguished certif- uh, uh, certif- certificates granted to certificates granted to two classes of vessels. Enrollment evidence the national character of the vessel engaged in coasting, trade, or home traffic. Reg- Hold on, can you see that, Chief? Let me
It's
blow
hard
it.
for me to see. Yeah, blow it up for me, God.
Let me blow it up for you, man. So
Because
let me
so you
blow this
trying to
up.
say because you're trying to say we come under that definition. I mean, or that that definition can be used to define us.
We under maritime admiralty law. Enrollment of a vessel. What does it say? The recording and certification of a vessel. Ain't
And
that
it's funny the
what you
treaty
do?
because now the treaty talk about vessels. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship with the Morocco, they talk about vessels.
But this is what I'm tripping out for. Ain't it the recording and certification? Ain't that what the birth certificate is of a vessel? Ain't in the Bible you consider a vessel of the Lord?
Yeah, that's deep right there, man. That does I got you.
And
Yeah, that's
then it
deep.
says used in coastal or inland.
Right,
Inland.
inland,
Now,
inland,
ain't that
coastal
what
or inland navigation.
ain't that what we
So what they
doing?
mean?
We moving around on
How
the
you
earth.
do inland navigation?
Ain't that how we
Are they talking
don't?
about the rivers?
No, we move around on the
They
earth.
not talking about the river?
No,
Yeah, but I mean, like if you talking about maritime, would
it said
maritime relate to a river?
no. Maritime
I'm
law.
just
They brought the law of the sea on the land. What do cars
yeah,
do? Don't they travel? Don't they navigate?
right. Are they considered a vessel? Are they
Don't
considered a vessel?
yeah.
Right, exactly.
As distinguished from the registration of vessels used in foreign commerce. Ain't that don't they always try to hit us with traffic tickets? Enrollment
Yeah,
and registry are used to distinguish certificates granted to two classes of vessels. Enrollment evidence, the national character of the vessel. Don't they say it says national character of the vessel? Engaged in coastal trade or home traffic. What is home traffic? Registry is used to declare the nationality of the vessel engaged in foreign trade.
yeah, yeah. That's heavy, man. That's heavy. That's
I'm just
hey man. There's a
saying,
lot of homework. Right.
I'm just saying
It's a
this
lot of work, man.
I'm just saying more need to, we drop this on y'all, man. This ain't I don't be playing with this. Chief, we don't be playing with this.
Nah. It's that's heavy, man.
You
That's
see what
heavy.
a lot of people
I
ain't,
see you going with it, man.
huh?
I see where you was going with it.
We dropping this sauce, drop it like it hot. We just saying we on something different, man. We on something different,
Yes,
man.
sir. So, well, brother, man. I think that was a lot to chew on for the night. Like I
Yeah,
said, y'all, please like this video, subscribe
hour.
to it, and
We
please
was on
share this video among all your brothers, man. Yeah, we've been on here for 2 hours, God. So I want y'all to check it out. Check out the website, indigenousservices.webs.com. It's the one-stop shop. It's on the bottom of the screen. It's
I
the
don't even
one-stop shop for your Moorish needs. And with,
they don't really want this sauce because
you
I
say
hit them
what?
with we might talk about on the next show the .com. What do that mean? .com and all of the stuff
Uh,
that they use and that they trafficking and they don't even know they making minimum contacts. Man, come on, they need to leave me alone out here, man. Leave me King up alone, boy.
boy, you
I be
crazy,
dropping
man.
that phone, boy. I be trying to tell them, and y'all need to, come over to the Moorish Universal Society of Tribes. You see the logo in the back, you know, the all seeing eye. We dropping that knowledge, you know what I'm saying? We,
Exactly, exactly.
this is what I do. So, like, I'm telling y'all, I'm a legal analyst. I am a lawful. I understand law and jurisdiction.
Yep, that's the number right there. If y'all need to get in touch with us, you can hit me on that line. I can get in touch with King. King, if you got a number to put up, you can put that number up. Or if you got some contact information for the people out here, you can hurry and put it up
They,
there.
they can look at me. I don't know how to put it up there. The King L Bay on Facebook. On
If you want to put it, if you want to put it in your not the chat private, but the like a comment. If you got your comment section. You can make comments on here. I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
if you want to make some comments so everybody can see your thing, and then we can bust out of here, man.
I don't know. I'm trying to make a comment. I did it.
All right, what's your number, man? What you want? What you putting up there?
Just put go to King L Bay Facebook and hit me up in my messenger, and we can or the Moorish Union of the Moorish Universal Society, Society of Tribe, either or on the messenger, and I'll get back with you. I'm, I try to hit the. I got a lot of other people. Hit me up, King L Bay.
All right, y'all. So appreciate everybody out here in these streets, man. Y'all be safe for the rest of the night.